At the beginning of this season, if you would have told me that James Harden would be on the Sixers by the trade deadline, I would have thought that you were taking crazy pills. But the Nets completely fell apart. Simmons' holdout worked, and now we've got the pairing we should have had all along. Joel Embiid in his prime, alongside Harden in a deal that saw the Sixers protect most of their valuable assets. So let's ask the question that's on everyone's mind. Will putting a beard on the process work? When examining the Sixers' 12th ranked offense this year, the thing that jumped out at me was how little Joel Embiid ever got to roll all the way to the basket for shots. Most of his attempts out of the pick and roll were mid-range or threes, and a big reason is because the ball handlers he was screening for did not put much pressure on the defense turning the corner. Well, that's about to change, as James Harden is a player feared by the defense when coming around that ball screen. I'm going to simply assume he'll have more energy and better movement with his new team versus the extremely suboptimal play he exhibited through much of this season with the Nets. And if he does regain his form, watch out. Embiid gets a ton of his roll man opportunities with the same play, setting a screen near the elbow for a player going to his strong right hand. Over and over, you'll see him set screens out of their offense in this area, in this direction, only to see little to no penetration by the ball handler and forcing Embiid to make his own good fortune. I tried to envision a great play the Sixers could run, and if you put James Harden out top, Embiid in the left elbow, and space the rest of the players like so, Maxey cuts the low block to screen for Green, who cuts underneath but then back to the same side. Meanwhile, Embiid cuts backdoor while Harris V-cuts back to the wing. Then you have Harden dribble across the court for a winning play, which is exactly what DraftKings is offering ahead of the big game this Sunday. If you want the chance to win some money on the game, and you have to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and you'll get 56-1 odds for either team to win this weekend. Bet just $5 and you can win $280 in free bets if your team wins. So use my promo code BBallBreakdown, pick the Rams or the Bengals, and add a whole new level of excitement while watching them. Even if DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state, there are millions of dollars in total prizes to be won with DraftKings daily fantasy football contests. Don't forget, my promo code BBallBreakdown, bet just $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and they're also instrumental in helping me draw up plays. Lest you think Harden wants to only go to his strong left hand, there is plenty of evidence of him going to his right and setting up teammates with gorgeous pocket passes for easy shots. But instead of threading the needle to Bruce Brown, these passes are to Joel Embiid, who has been extremely inefficient in this action throughout his career. But that should all change right now. Defenses will have no idea which player to gravitate to, and either way, once they shift to shut down one, then the other will be getting a good shot. I only hope Doc Rivers recognizes this right away and gets them working on this action as much as possible, so it'll be tuned up for the playoffs. Embiid hadn't been getting nearly enough opportunities out of the role his entire career, but this year he was at a career high in frequency and expect his 61st percentile ranking to go way up. It's also important to ask how Embiid can help Harden get easier shots, and the answer is simple. With as much gravity as the big guy has down low when posting up, it should open up kickouts to Harden, the likes he's never seen before in his life. Defenses are so concerned with Embiid down low, as they should be, that they double team him often, and he's gotten pretty good at identifying the skip and making the accurate pass. So as long as Doc Rivers gets Harden in the right spots, ideally on the weak side when Embiid gets the ball on the block, it should practically force the defense to pick their poison. If they double, Harden should get plenty of opportunities to make a catch with space, so he can even catch and shoot an open three. What? Or then go into his ISO dance that he likes to do, knowing that if he misses, Embiid could very well be in good position on the weak side to grab the offensive rebound. Of course, we couldn't do a video on Harden without discussing his defense. And let's face it, it's been suboptimal for a very long time. If the ball gets swung to his man and he's got to deal with a closeout, he gets beat a lot of the time. However, Joel Embiid has tons of experience making up for his teammates' mistakes by erasing shots near the rim on drives that started out looking very promising for the offense. Don't expect Harden to magically get better at staying in front of his man, but instead of a LaMarcus Aldridge back there trying to break it up, you've got Joel Embiid, who's terrific at cutting off angles and swatting shots without committing the foul. While the Sixers' defensive rating rank might not improve much, I don't think it'll get worse, especially considering they were able to keep Matisse Thybulle in the deal, a guy who should eventually win the Defensive Player of the Year award. While I'd love for him to start and get more minutes, I suspect Doc is going to go with Danny Green in the starting lineup alongside Harden, Maxey, Embiid, and Harris to give them more shooting. The player who could get a real boost from playing alongside Harden and Embiid is Georges Niang, who is sure to get open shots when the ball is either thrown into the post to Embiid or Harden is attacking from the perimeter. The Sixers are certainly going to need him and Danny Green to not only provide floor spacing, but to actually nail their shots consistently to capitalize on the advantage the Big Two give them. It will also be vital to overcome their potential defensive issues. Make no mistake, by adding Harden to this mix, the potential for defensive miscues is high, and I suspect they'll have to rely on outscoring their opponents more than shutting them down, considering they have guys out there that struggle to defend and force Thybulle and Embiid to cover for him. Green certainly has tons of playoff experience, and you might be able to rely on him to come through at the end of his career. And Niang does have 4 series under his belt, so he's not foreign to the intense pressure of the playoffs. But it's Tyrese Maxey who will end up being the X factor, needing to find his way after playing the lead guard role the whole year. Can he play off the ball and be effective enough to overcome the big boys in the East? Right now, he only gets catch and shoot threes 13.7% of the time, but he is excellent at over 40% on them. I bet teams will be willing to help one pass away off of him to try and stop Harden, which would give Maxey a lot of space to shoot open triples. These makes could then open up secondary driving attacks that simply improve the offense by a lot, either with his creative finishes around the rim or setting up Embiid for cleanup duty at point-blank range. Does this give the Sixers the jolt they've been looking for? With Embiid playing, the Sixers are 28-14, and that winning percentage would put them at the top of the Eastern Conference. The only question is which version of James Harden are they adding? If he ends up being the player who has struggled mightily to finish at the rim while not adjusting to the more physical play allowed by the refs, then they might not make a significant jump. But if Harden gets anywhere near his normal level, then expect to see him shoot the three at a career-high clip, put immense pressure on the defense that will open up easy shots for everyone else, and the Sixers as a team to become the odds-on favorites to win the East and get all the way to the NBA Finals.